Okay, guys. So, hi, welcome to One United. This is Wali Siddiqui, and we have a new guest with us, Dinesh Thomas,
Hi
first of
guys.
the usual one, and it's now Lukman with us. So, Lukman, how you doing, man?
Hi guys. You okay? It's a pleasure to be on the show.
Right. So, we're going to discuss about. We didn't get time to discuss about the Manchester United versus Tottenham game, so we're going to review that a little bit before heading into the Manchester derby. So,
Yeah.
first and foremost, we're going to take your perspective, Lukman. How has it been? Like, how does this match shape? How did the match shape up for you? Because everyone expected that we might lose to Tottenham, but we did something quite different out there.
Yeah, I guess Tottenham were a bit overconfident going into the game. Obviously, they had a few games that they had won in a row. And I guess Man United were more organized and they played well. And I was, glad that we won because the last two games we drew, which was really disappointing. But I guess with Man United, the way it's been this season is with the top teams, we perform well. Whereas with the teams that we should be beating easily, that's where we're dropping the points. So from my perspective, that was a game that I enjoyed. And I feel Scott McTominay is solid in midfield. And he was the difference. Fred had a pretty good game. And Rashford was phenomenal up front.
Jeanette, what do you have to say about United's performance in the previous game? Because Rashford, well, he turned into prime Ronaldo, I guess, in that game.
Uh-huh.
He
And,
was a beast, man.
exactly, and Fred, it wasn't Fred. It seemed like it was Fredinho, because all of a sudden he was all over the park. So, what do you have to say about that performance?
Fred and McTommy, like Lukman said, I think those two are like our go-to midfielders, especially when Pogba's not there. I mean, if Pogba is there, he can play as a number 10, and I think Lukman just left or he had some issues. I think Pogba, if he plays, he can play right behind the striker, along with McTominay and Fred as his, behind midfielders. And yeah, Fred is improved compared to Pereira. I think Fred is the one who's been improving as the season progresses.
Right.
And I hope he gets more game time. I think under Mourinho, his problem was that he wasn't getting much game time, or he was like in the squad, he's out of the squad, and again, it leads to inconsistency. So I like what Ole is doing with Fred. He's sticking with Fred in the midfield, and I mean, yeah, he's progressing as much better than Pereira. And if Pogba comes back, I think our midfield will look much better.
So, Lukman, where
No,
did you
but
head?
the question would be that do you think the way obviously Scott McTominay, Fred with the form that he's in, do you think we'd have space for Pogba in our midfield?
I think he'll play as a number 10. Like, obviously, he won't take McTominay's position, the CDM role, or he might take Fred's role, but we don't have any other better number 10. Like, who are you going to play, Lingard or
I
Mata
think
over
for
there?
me, ideal would be obviously Pogba and McTominay in midfield, but I think that would be unfair to Fred because the last couple of games,
Yeah.
obviously, he's been underrated by a lot of people, and he's come out to prove that obviously his quality. He just needs
Uh-huh.
to be given game time, and I feel um, once Pogba is fit, Solskjaer will have quite a difficult time to actually select his midfield.
Hmm.
I think I'm going to agree with Dinnet over here because Fred and McTominay have struck a partnership in central and midfield. And if there's anyone who could seriously fill the number 10 role, you've seen Juan Mata. He could have been an absolute beast if you were talking about 4 to 5 years ago, but he's lost his legs. And
Yeah.
Ante Pereira, let's just not talk about him. He doesn't even seem Brazilian. He's an Albanian. And let's talk about Pogba at number 10 because I think when Pogba plays in an advanced role, he will be able to offer much, much more than we already are right now. And if you see Anthony Martial coming up short with Pogba, that understanding is there. Rashford through the wings, Daniel James through the wings. It would be an impeccable partnership between all those people. But I feel that we just still two midfielders short. I think if we would have had a Bruno Fernandes, we would have been at a much better position in the league right now because of the
Yeah.
number 10. But what's done is done.
But I
Hmm.
guess if you do talk about number 10, then you are right because Pogba has mentioned that he loves playing a bit closer to the striker. So for him to be at number 10, that would be an ideal position for him. And I feel that Fred, McTominay, and Pogba, with Rashford, Martial, and Daniel James up front, that could
Right.
that could be a very lethal combination.
Well, you never know. We might be having him for the next 4 to 5 months because he might be off to Real Madrid. But let's just hope for the best. Even if he does go, I hope our board wakes up and knows that when a player goes, you're supposed to buy at least a player or two more to fill that gap. Because Herrera left, Fellaini left, you still didn't have any midfielders. But that's the board. We'll talk
That
about them.
just yeah.
Now the
Yet,
board is shit.
yeah, is actually our board is competing with Arsenal's board as to who's shit. But right now, I think it's Arsenal who's winning once again.
Yeah. No, I think Arsenal signed like six,
Arsenal.
seven players, man. Nah, they signed like they had the best transfer window, like, and where are
Five.
they? They're like on top 10. Like,
They always do that. Five plays in 5 minutes, nine plays in 17 minutes, and then all of
yeah,
a
they signed players. They can't have any issues. Got Pepe in there, Salt and Pepe, like, and
yeah.
they've been doing jack shit this whole season.
Well, we will talk about Arsenal, but this was the Tottenham game. But do you think the final question that I'll ask about the Tottenham game is that was it us rising to the occasion or was it Tottenham being abysmal? Because I honestly feel that the reason why we sacked Jose Mourinho was right there in front of us. Quite defensive, quite lethargic the team was, and I feel that more than us performing, we did quite a good job. Let me agree with that. But it's not about outclassing. I think we outperformed them rather than outclassing them, and Tottenham was just not good enough.
See, the thing was that I felt like everyone kept saying that Mourinho knows how to like challenge with these United players like before the match. Like Mourinho knew every single player apart from Maguire and James and Van Bissaka. But I also felt like the players knew what Mourinho was gonna bring, and that's how like the players performed well. Like they knew what
I
Mourinho was gonna do.
in my opinion, I feel some of the players they performed the way they did because they had to prove
Yeah,
prove a point
that's
to Mourinho, right? Because if you look at it during Mourinho's reign, there's a few players that he had spoken about in which they obviously they wanted to show him that obviously they can perform. And
Okay,
then
so
again, when we did win, Mourinho went on to say that, see, I did tell you guys that Rashford is most effective from the
right,
right,
right.
from the left. Sorry. So obviously, I feel that it was a bit of both. Uh, Man United did step up to the occasion, and Tottenham were not at their best. So it was I guess luck was on our side that Tottenham were not at their best because if you have watched them playing at their best, they're very very lethal,
Right.
and I guess it just didn't work for them against us.
Finally,
yeah.
Mourinho had Maguire and Alderweireld in one field. Let's talk about that also. And we were talking about players having a problem with Jose Mourinho, but what problem did Daniel James have with Jose Mourinho? Because he almost tackled him right out of Old Trafford.
Oh man, scary. I was like,
That
please
was
don't get
funny
injured.
moment.
Yeah, but I was like, please don't get injured. Like he banged his head.
Yeah,
Oh
And
man, scary.
Jack Grealish, I think Daniel James is one of those players who's getting fouled a lot because of his immense pace. But
Yeah.
so let's just shift from the review to the derby, which is tomorrow. Big game, another big game. And I think the players won't need much motivation because it's the occasion, it's the Etihad Stadium. And if you remember, it was under Mourinho when City just needed to seal all 3 points in order to win the league. But all of a
Much
sudden,
tough.
Pogba comes in, two goals. Chris Smalling, legend Chris Smalling, right now he's at Roma. He's
He's a
Smaldini.
legend there now. He's being a legend there.
Maldini, exactly. So I think tomorrow is another big day. And let's be honest, I don't think that City are invincible at the moment. I
Oh
think
no.
compared to the previous two seasons, you can say that this City is there for the taking because they do not have Laporte or their centre halves are totally out of luck. So we can actually get a positive result.
Yeah. I
I
mean,
I feel oh, go ahead, Nat. Sorry, go ahead.
yeah. What I was gonna say was that when I knew the company was leaving, I mean that guy. I mean, as a defender, he himself is like a top defender, but as a backroom, like someone to be there in the squad, he is such a great captain. Like and. I would even rate him like as good as or maybe slightly better than Ferdinand. Or maybe okay, now I'm not gonna rate him more than Ferdinand, but he's like that kind of a caliber defender in which like he can just put together every like single player in the squad. And when he was gone, there's like a huge gap in that dressing room. There's a huge gap in the defense, and I think Rashford's gonna have a fun time in Etihad Stadium. He's gonna be running
It
around.
I
But
feel it just goes to show how reliant Pep Guardiola is on his defense, because obviously, if you look at their recent games, they've been abysmal. Newcastle United 2-2, and I feel if we are to win tomorrow's game, it's going to depend on how quick we can counter attack,
yeah.
because
Right.
I feel our pace up front is amazing, and
Mhm.
if we use that to our advantage, we're going to win that game. I feel 2-1 or 2-0
Mhm.
easily.
Well,
Mhm.
you guys are quite optimistic. I honestly feel that it's a City win. I'm not. I'm.
No.
But we
I
can
mean,
see.
I do get why you'd say City win, because
Uh-huh.
I mean, I'm surprised we're not talking about Manchester United's defensive problems. I feel
Like,
Maguire and Lindelof are not a good partnership at all. I feel
Yeah.
Maguire is overrated. He's not performing, and
but
Lindelof,
it's
obviously
a
he had a
legend.
lucky season last year.
Yeah, I agree.
Look, one of our one of our people of One United, he called him a legend, and Ike is saying he's not on call right now, but he's
Lukman
certainly
was
not a
it.
legend.
Lukman was it.
He's
I'm pretty sure he knows.
no,
So
I feel we should give Tuanzebe a chance.
Yeah,
He's
exactly,
a
yeah.
very solid
Maguire
defender.
was it. Yeah.
I feel Maguire is. I mean, look at Leicester City. It just goes to show you they sold a world class defender, and their defensive record is the best in the league. It's the
Absolutely.
best in the league. What it goes to show you how overrated Maguire was. He just has a big head.
Yeah,
Slab
this is
head.
why he calls him Slabhead. And I think the reason why he's 80 million is because he scored a couple of goals in the World Cup. And as a result of that, he's 80 million of all of a sudden. He is a good defender, don't get me wrong, but he's not an 80 million defender, let's be honest. If it was Kula Belly, I think I could have considered it. But since it's Harry Maguire, he needs to do better. What about you,
I
Dennis?
mean, yeah, Dinette.
I mean, for me, I always find this funny because like we signed Eric Bailly to have a partnership with Smalling. Then we
Eric
signed Lindelof
exists.
to have a partnership with Bailly, and now we got Harry Maguire to get a partnership with Lindelof, and now we are looking for another centre back to be with Maguire. I mean, I
I
don't know. I
mean,
feel like
what do you think our best defensive, our defensive
I would
line
say
is?
try out Tuanzebe and Harry Maguire because even though like he's overrated, he's still a decent defender. Like he plays a lot of international games for England. He is a caliber player. Like if the I mean I don't know if it's with the team or something, but I think he'll come good. Maybe try him out with Tuanzebe. I don't know
I
why Ole
mean,
is not.
I feel once Eric Bailly is back
Mhm.
and Tuanzebe gets some game time, those two could be a very good partnership, I feel,
Yeah,
in my opinion. And Wan Bissaka on the right, and Luke Shaw has, I don't know, man.
uh,
I had a lot of
yeah,
hope, that he would
He's,
turn out to be a world class left back, but Brandon Williams is currently outshadowing him at the moment.
yeah.
l- l- right. Luke Shaw's on those burgers again, I guess, because he looks 5 kilos
He
extra.
looks he looks a bit overweight.
He's competing with Eden Hazard in that regard, I guess. The way he celebrated when
No,
he joined Real Madrid, I think that is the reason why Luke Shaw has been one of those players. So, anyways, we'll talk about Manchester City now, and they're a force to be reckoned with. So, Raheem Sterling and Ashley Young might be one contest that we might be watching. But let's be honest, Ashley Young has pocketed Mohamed Salah in the past. We've seen that happen. So,
I
do you
mean,
think he
honestly.
might be able to? Right.
I think Ashley Young is. I mean, I know people might hate this, but I feel like he's more of a big game player than like him playing against like some shit team like Watford or something. No disrespect to Watford, because I feel like we still need that experience in the back line.
true,
Like our back
true,
line is so young. I mean, Maguire is there, but you rather have someone like Ashley Young to like organize that
true.
back four. So I would stick with Ashley Young, and obviously like if Ole can give him instructions like not to fucking go forward and like camp over there.
No, but
Like
I do have a feeling that he's going to start with Ashley Young,
I
yeah,
because
think
I mean,
obviously that the
he
okay, we
left.
lost him again. Anyways, I think yeah, Lukman is right. I think we will be starting with Ashley Young, did it? Because uh, we talk about the dark arts in football. For example,
Mhm.
time wasting, getting earned a foul,
Yeah,
just watching off the game. I think that is something which Ashley Young could offer, something which Ange Herrera also did. Not saying that Ashley Young can be compared to Herrera in
yeah.
terms of skill, but he
Uh-huh.
is someone who could actually do all of that.
True. I mean, I don't know if you've seen that clip
And
where he
we
tells
have him.
Yeah, like he tells the ball boys to take your time to. Yeah, like we need that. I mean,
That was
but
not the ball boy. That was Juan Mata.
oh yeah,
Ball boy now.
I mean, like most of the bench were like kids over there, so I thought it was like it was like our youth academy, like the ball boys. But yeah, like yeah, we need to stick with. I mean, I think it would be right to stick with Young, especially in a big game. He's also played in many Manchester derbies. It's not like new to him, and he has also faced off against Sterling, De Bruyne, and stuff. He hasn't come out well in all of them, but in some games he has actually performed well, like you said, against Salah, against Hazard. So. Yeah, I think he should start. I wouldn't be that upset if he doesn't start. If he does start.
Well, a source of positive news from our perspective is that Sergio Aguero finally will not be playing against Manchester United because whenever
Injured.
he comes, I don't think so. He's injured. Yeah, he's injured.
Oh, oh,
So that player who always scores against us is
oh yeah.
finally not. And honestly feel that if it's Gabriel Jesus, I think we should be able to contain him because he's been fairly inconsistent this season. But you know our defense.
I
So
remember when he scored the 96-minute winner and it was offside. He was still celebrating. Like, I think like it
uh,
was 3 4 seasons ago at the
yeah,
Etihad. Yeah.
well, time does fly, but I hope we will be able to put in a performance. And let's
Mm-hmm.
talk about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer
Uh-huh.
that he after Tottenham. Is he safe now? Is Pochettino on the horizon? Where are we exactly?
I would say, I mean, again, like I mentioned before in the previous podcast, that Ole does well against the Big Six, and he did well again. I was only worried that it was Mourinho because he would have something to prove to everyone in United, but Ole did much better than him. He tactically outclassed Mourinho, and against coming up with Pep, I remember last derby, we didn't have much to like. We just wanted like. I felt like we didn't want Liverpool to win the league, and we kind of took it off easy in that derby when we lost 2-0. This time is completely different, regardless of, I mean, pretty much Liverpool is running away with the league. I mean, we can't afford to give points to City because we need those 3 points ourselves. He would
Right.
put in a much better team, much better performance against the Big Six, against the top team. And I feel like if he does that, if he get even a draw against City, I think the board and even some fans, even including me, would I can also admit that yeah, like we should stick by Ole because there is something that he's doing which is working off. But it's like for me personally, it's more like the mistakes. Like if you look at the last 3 goals we considered, the Dele Alli, the Tyrone Mings goal, and the one against Sheffield in the 90th minute, it's all the same error. So I mean, like if Ole has been going back and looking at those clips and he's not done anything to improve, like defending in the last minute or
Let's not
making
forget one more goal. When Joshua King scored that goal, it was of similar nature as to how Dele
yeah,
Alli scored,
exactly.
if you
Yeah,
remember.
you're right. Yeah, you're right. So I'm like, why is he not addressing that issue? And again, that might again cost us. Like, okay, like even Louis Van Gaal used to get good results against the top six, and then he still got sacked because the football was bad. He wasn't doing well against. We drew so many games against Stoke City, Sunderland, Swansea, all the teams that started with S. So like, I mean,
Right.
I don't want the same situation with Ole Gunnar. Even though the football is much better than Louis Van Gaal, like there are some things in which he's not addressing, which is a worry for me. Still, even if we were to beat City by like 3-1, and yet we still concede a goal similar to that, I'm still gonna be like, what's happening in the training ground?
Well, honestly, there was a report today that the Manchester United players had a word with the board prior to the
Yeah,
Tottenham game to give Ole Gunnar Solskjaer the time and to not sack him irrespective of how the results go on. So, one thing is the short that the players want the managers to stay. It is quite a
that,
rarity in today's time, so that's a
that's
good
good
thing. But
because
but
that's
but
what happened to Arsenal. Yeah.
right, but one thing that I would add is that if I were the board, if I was Ed Woodward, thank goodness I'm not, because I would have shot myself. Then I would have actually waited. I would have had a word with Pochettino, told him to. I would have told him to wait till the summer till the summer transfer window, and then
Mhm.
depending on the performances of how United did, and as per your expectations which you had, I would hire or forget about Pochettino, but I would definitely have him over the horizon.
Mhm. I mean, I get that. Yeah, definitely. he could he I mean he's the only like top manager that's available. There's Allegri also, but I don't think Allegri will suit United anyway. Pochettino known for building teams and the structure within a club. I would say he's more. I mean, ever since Mourinho left, it's always been Pochettino in the
Right.
news until Ole Gunnar had that great form. I'm pretty sure Pochettino would have joined us by like this summer, you know. But yeah, like I would say give Ole time. Let's see what he does in the winter transfer window because I feel like regardless of the City result,
Right.
he would still have. I don't think the board is gonna act like to sack him or anything. And like you mentioned, if the players are behind him and if the performance are still dropping, then I think it's the players who needs to go. So
Exactly.
I mean, they are kind of putting themselves out there, which is good actually. I admire that. But it is good that like they also need to raise their performance, especially the defense, because that is one position in which he has actually invested in. Because like
Right.
two of the four defenses like Ole signing, so he doesn't have any like excuse on that. I mean, obviously, you can talk about the midfield being not giving much protection, but yeah, like he still needs to address that issue where our defense is still leaking goals.
Absolutely. That is something which needs to be addressed. But once again, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, I think he has given himself time after that win against Tottenham. And I remember that time when it was United versus Newcastle at Old Trafford, and everyone was talking about if Mourinho loses over here, if
Yeah.
United loses over here, then he's gone. And then all of a sudden, United went on to win this game. A good
Yeah.
comeback, 2-0 down, 3-2.
Sanchez's last goal for United.
So, no,
Uh,
it's quite confusing at times. But I think if you bar aside Pochettino, there's no one out there who's capable of managing the club. Because if Pochettino goes to, he's not going to Bayern Munich. He's
mhm. Yeah.
uh, Arsenal are in desperate need of a manager more than anyone right now. If he goes to
Yeah.
Arsenal, I think United fans are going to regret it because at this moment, Jurgen Klopp is busy with Liverpool. He's never going to join United. Pep Guardiola will probably go back to Barcelona. Diego
Mhm.
Simeone doesn't seem like a United kind of manager, so I think we will be missing out if Pochettino goes somewhere else.
True. I'm more worried about him going to Real Madrid. I don't think he'll go to Arsenal. I think he's a club man and he'll respect Tottenham fans and the and his previous club. I don't think he'll join Tottenham. As even though he would be the ideal candidate to be at Arsenal, and I really
Right.
hope Pochettino doesn't be a snake and join Arsenal. I think he's a man of values. I think he'll stick with not joining Arsenal.
All right. So we'll have to wait about that. I'm still quite confused at this moment, but I think we have to give Ole Gunnar Solskjaer a little bit of time. But I'm not saying that we have to let
Yeah,
go of Pochettino at the same moment. We
agree,
have to have
agree.
him
Yeah,
because
it'll be again like when Liverpool were sacking Brendan Rodgers, like even though he got them to second, close to the title,
right.
they saw Jurgen Klopp was available. They saw what he can do. They brought him in. And again, if Liverpool hadn't reacted that way, they might have been still stuck with Brendan Rodgers. Again, I don't think he's a bad manager. I mean, from what he's doing with Leicester, but they would have missed out on Klopp, and you never know what how Liverpool would have been. They wouldn't have been playing this kind of football. They wouldn't have won a Champions League. They probably wouldn't have ever won a Premier League. But it is what it is, and we should. Yeah, again, I agree with your point. We shouldn't miss out on that opportunity, like when Pochettino is available.
But I think they would have had a manager with really good hygiene because Jurgen Klopp, I don't think so. He's a great manager. Let's not get into that. He's a great manager, and
True.
I envy, I honestly envy Liverpool at times because I think if we had Jurgen Klopp, then we could have done wonders with him. Anyways,
Yeah.
back final verdict on the City game. So big game tomorrow night, and what are your expectations, Dinette? Is it going to be a KG affair? Are we going to park the double decker?
I don't think. I think Ole would be thinking, especially right now after that he won against Spurs, that there is something to do, something to get from the City game. I don't think he'll park the bus like Mourinho, which might backfire, which might not backfire. I don't know, because again, City has still a strong squad. The Silvas, Kevin De Bruyne, Sterling,
Yes,
Jesus can show up if he wants to. So like they still have a really good squad. It's about containing them. I know that Marshall is injured. I would be very surprised if Greenwood doesn't start again because
March
I mean which
start off the bench according to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. He said that he might be on the bench.
Marshall, yeah. But I mean, so do you think what is Greenwood gonna start again on the right, or would he put Lingard there and put someone like Mata in the center mid?
No, no, no. He's going to go with the same winning formula. I don't think he's going to tinker with it much.
If he
And
doesn't, yeah, that would be good. I would
yeah,
hope he doesn't change anything, and especially Greenwood. I remember Marcus Rashford's first derby where he left Demichelis and sent back him to he sent him back to Argentina. So I
yeah.
mean, I think Greenwood
Where
would
to be
love to
seen?
play in a derby. Huh?
He's nowhere to be seen after that.
Yeah, he's retired and he's in fact retired apparently. So yeah, I hope Greenwood can start this game and play in a derby. That would be amazing for him. And if he can put in a performance, I'm not expecting much of him, but he is quality player on the right, and he's like a proper finisher. Him and Marcus Rashford on fire and
Right.
James also. I think we can go run past their defense and probably score one or two goals. Even Edison's not been doing well. He's been like shipping goals left, right, and center. So yeah, there are goals that we can score against City. It's just about containing their attack still, even though without Aguero. I think they might miss Aguero a lot because he is like a derby player.
Like
So they
United.
would miss. Yeah, and if McTomney can pocket Kevin De Bruyne, that's it. I think we are winning that game.
Whoa. Okay, that's a lot of optimism just because of that one positive result against Tottenham.
No, I
But
mean, no, again, no, it's from the whole like performance against all the top six teams that we had. Like even against Liverpool, we played really well till the very end. Against Arsenal, we should have won that game. I felt like that 1-1 draw was unfair on us. And then Chelsea twice we smashed them away. Yeah, so like against Big Six, we have a proper plan and strategy. It's just that sometimes in defense we kind of like lose our focus. So if Ole can get that sorted, I don't see how we cannot win. I mean, how can we lose against City? We should be getting at least something.
so
The current
what's your final score line?
after all that I've said, I think it might be like a 1-0 win to United.
Oh my
I say
goodness, man.
1-0.
United are going to keep a clean sheet at the Etihad against Manchester City's
I,
quality
I
attack.
think that, I think it's gonna be one of those De Gea games, like against
Oh,
Spurs.
if that
Last.
happens, I swear, if United win 1-0 or if they win at all against Manchester
Yeah.
City, we have to make sure dinner tomorrow that all of us have to sing Ollie at the wheel. We do not care about the circumstance.
No,
We have
no,
to
let's sing some other chant, not only at the wheel. That chant is cursed. Like if Liverpool fans sing that chant, that's it. They're not winning the league.
he
They
deserves
haven't done.
that song. If it happens tomorrow, then he deserves that song, I feel. Because
Yeah, okay. Let's sing that "You Are My Solskjaer" or something. I hate that only at the wheel chant. It's
I'm
been
going to,
cursed for like Pellegrini, Unai Emery, some club managers in Europe. That chant is cursed. Like should be locked away and never be sung.
well, okay, so my prediction, though I feel that United might are going to lose tomorrow, but I'll be a little biased and I'll say it's going to be a 2-all draw, an entertaining 2-all draw at the
Uh,
Etihad. So
I would take that also. Yeah.
I wouldn't mind. So yeah, we had Lukman with us. I think he had a 1% battery life remaining as a result of which he had to go.
Uh-huh.
So, but he was a nice, good appearance, and we'll have him more regularly over here. Varadan
Yeah.
is joining us soon as well. Thank you, Dinet,
Yeah.
for staying with us, for staying
Oh
with
yeah.
me. I'm sorry, there's no us over here. So for staying with me, and
Yeah,
what,
let's hope for a win.
yeah. So let's pump the United faithful, man. Come on, say something.
Yeah, do this. Come
Songs,
on.
play the guitar. You do that pretty well.
Yeah, no, I don't have anything right now.
All right.
But yeah, let's see. Let's see after the City game.
Okay, so Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will be coming for Fordiola. Let's see. We just have to wait and know. So
Yeah.
that's it from One United. Wally Siddiqui, Dinesh Thomas, and Lukman was also there, and we'll be back tomorrow, hopefully, when United get all 3 points or a point, or even if they lose, we will be there. So
Yeah.
still keep watching One United.
All right.